Hey everybody, Phil Kerner here, the Tool and Die Guy, and today's lesson is checking for squareness. You know, understanding squareness is what separates the apprentices from the master tool makers in the world. And once you understand in your head that squareness affects 6 sides of a piece of material, not just 4, and how to really check it, you're going to be a master among men. This is the old machinist solid square. It's pretty accurate, and I still use mine occasionally. I use it to check blocks before I put them in a vise to see if there's any angle on them. And the reason I do that is I like to put the widest part of my stock into a vise, not the narrower part. If you put the narrow part into your vise and squeeze it, it lifts the part up, and you could throw it out of the machine, and that's usually not good. So this is a useful tool, but today's lesson is on how to really check a block for squareness and really know if you're perfectly square or not. Once you get this down pat, I'm telling you, not too many people know how to do this. This is one of the keys to the vault today. So if you like videos like this and articles, there's an article that goes with this video. So just visit toolanddieguy.com, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to send them to me. Enjoy. All right, so what we're going to learn today is really how to check a block to make sure it's truly square. The first thing you're going to need here, and I do want to add that I'm using a white piece of paper over my surface plate, which will affect things a little bit here because the white paper makes this whole video stand out a little bit better. So you won't be using white paper on your surface plate, but this will really make it clear to you how to check a block for squareness. Okay, so here we have a basic surface gauge that I've added a twist to here, and this is just a piece of gauge stock of 3/16 thick that I ground a little slot in my surface gauge right through it and pounded this in. That's it. There's nothing holding it in. You don't certainly want to weld it in. And this is not a precision radius. You can belt sand that radius on and just sand it so it's nice and smooth. But as I'm going to show you, the process will always find the highest spot on the radius. And here's how we're going to prove that. So I've got my indicator set up. What we're going to do is we're going to rock this piece, or you can rock either the piece or the surface gauge across your work. Okay. Now I do want to show you one thing. I'm going to back this off with this thumb screw, and I want you to notice one thing. I'm only using a small amount of the travel. You don't want your indicator going around and around and around like that. The less amount you use, the more accurate it is. Okay. Because you can bump it on the other side if you're using too much travel. Use very minimum amount of travel here. So I'm using about 7 thousandths. So let's see what happens here. So I'm going to swing this piece back and forth. Okay, so I've got a 0 set. Now let's check the opposite side. This tells me these 2 sides are square with the bottom of the part within a 1/2 thousandths total indicator reading. That means it's 2.5 tenths out per side. Not bad. And don't forget we're checking this over a height of about roughly 2 inches. So you're within 2.5 tenths and 2 inches. That's pretty square. Okay? You can really pull your hair out if you want to get it any better than this. Now let's check the other 2 sides. Couple tenths, and then the side opposite of that. Maybe 6/10. I would give this block on a scale, or not a scale, but on a grading scale, an A. An A plus, I guess, would have to be perfect. And boy, I'll tell you, it is hard to get a block perfect. To get it this close, you are going to be grinding it, of course, and I covered that in the article. But this is a precision block that came off of one of my EDM machines many years ago, and this block I would pronounce totally square. Now for fun, we could flip it over, and how's the other side? What was once the top is now the bottom. 0. Zero. It's even better, isn't it? Third side. 6/10. I think I might have just bumped my indicator when I was moving around. No, 6/10. You know, again, I'll give this an A. It's very good. Now, What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's not square. Okay, now this is the same block of steel that we just checked, and as you can see here, I've added a piece of just a post-it, a little bit strip of a post-it underneath one corner. I'm not going to go all the way around the block. What I'm going to do is show you that what it looks like when it's not square. Now this block we had just checked, it was within a couple tenths of being perfectly square. Just a little piece of paper underneath one corner, and we're 6/1000ths out of square already. So again, a piece of paper, the thickness of a piece of paper can totally throw this off, and that's why it's important that your workpiece is clean, that your machine is square, and that it takes care and talent to get a block perfectly square. So as you can see, just a piece of paper like that totally throws this block out of square. So this is the method I use to make sure the work I work on, if I need it square, this is the best way to do it. Throw away the solid square. All I use the solid square for is checking the stock that I get to see how square it is to start with. So I hope this helps, and you can email me with any questions and how I built my little radius here on the front of it, but it's very basic. In fact, I'm looking down at the camera right now, and you can see that indicator point is lined up with apparently what is the high spot on my radius. And again, if we just take that piece of paper out, the post-it, should be pretty much back to square. Back to our 6/10. So that concludes my little lesson on checking the squareness of a block with your indicator and a surface gauge.